Mitzi Avila and welcome to Creative Blueprints. In this video, I will share a great conversation that I had with Madyson Calvo from Cosentino, USA. Madyson is a very talented and creative representative from Cosentino, who has been part of the company for nearly a year. With a background of communication and leadership, complemented by a minor in business, Madyson has excelled in her role within the construction industry. I feel compelled to interview Madyson because her passion for her work truly stands out. During our conversation, I was impressed by the strong relationships she has built with her clients and her dedication with the exceptional customer service. At just 23 years old, Madyson is an inspiring example for emerging talents in the construction field. And if you're a builder, contractor, architect, interior designer, and you want to incorporate the outstanding materials from Cosentino, Mady is an invaluable resource. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you found Madyson insights inspiring, particularly for those in the construction industry or aspiring interior designers or architects in the construction field, please share this video with others. Together we can celebrate and draw inspiration from remarkable individuals like her. Also, if you're looking to get more inspiration, do not forget to go to Instagram after you watch this video and find me as Creative Blueprints or my personal Instagram as interior designer, Mitzi Avila Designer. We are ready to watch this conversation. Let's get inspired, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Hello everyone, my name is Mitzi Avila and welcome to Creative Blueprints. Today we are here in the Cosentino Center and we are with Madyson Calvo. Welcome to Creative Blueprints, Mady.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. And for sure, I was thinking, I was interviewing business owners and a lot of business in the construction, architects, designers, and you guys know that. But you are working in a very amazing place, and I wanted to share your experience as well. Working in a very big company that everybody in the construction is using nowadays. So yeah, I want to know more about you, how you started to work here, how you enjoy to be part of the construction. Now that you have a lot of options to do in this world, and you decided for this industry. So I want to know more about your experience, and yeah, if you can share with me a little bit more about yourself. I don't know, what are your studies, what you studied in the past, if you are here from Austin, and one more. What is your happy place?
My happy place, all right. So I grew up in Sugar Land, so outside of Houston. I went to the University of Texas and studied communication and leadership, and I minored in business. So of course that's an incredibly broad kind of area of study. And I intentionally did that because I knew that I wanted to do a job that had to do with people and that wouldn't look the same every day. And so of course here I definitely experienced that. I would say the diversity in what I do is a massive gift and is incredibly motivating because it allows me to dictate what I do to what my current needs are at the time as a human, and of course the needs of my people. So I'm really lucky to be in a position that allows kind of that freedom.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
She's 23. She's a baby. You're a baby in the construction, so that's very fun. So yeah, in your happy place.
Yes, my happy place. That is so tough.
Not here. You don't have to say Cosentino. I know that you enjoy your workplace, but another one.
Okay. My happy place is the grocery store, but specifically Whole Foods. I'm obsessed with Whole Foods, and I love H Mart, Central Market. Those are, yeah, for some reason, those scratch a special part in my brain that it brings me a lot of peace being at those places. Yeah, I don't know.
That's real,
right?
It's like a therapy. You go to the grocery store and just walk around, just browsing, and that's great.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's wonderful.
That's
Anytime I need like a decompressed time, it's Whole Foods, specifically on a Friday, because they have $12 for 12 oysters. And so that I'll go and they'll shuck them for you and you eat your oysters at Whole Foods. It's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, that's great. I am agree with that.
Yeah, if you ever see me there on a Friday eating oysters by myself, mind your business.
You can say hi.
Or you can say hi, that too, yes.
All right, as you know, I will ask you some questions.
Yeah.
So this is more, to inspire other people that is interested to be part of the construction field or part of this industry. So, okay, so the first one. What inspired you to pursue a career in the construction industry, specifically in selling Cosentino? How did you first get involved with Cosentino, and if you can share your journey from the beginning?
Definitely. So I would say from the beginning, in terms of growing up, like I mentioned, I always wanted to have a career that involved people, travel, and kind of diversity in what I do. I would say that I'm a creative person, but definitely not to the caliber where I could probably be successful as an interior designer. But I do also have such an appreciation for and an understanding of how much your surroundings can impact your well-being. And so I definitely had an interest in that sort of field, I would say. I also am very privileged in the sense that I was able to grow up in the industry a little bit, with my dad being in the industry, specifically at Cosentino.
Oh, wow.
Which I don't think I've told you before.
No.
But so that was definitely kind of a special opportunity for me to have access to the world of Cosentino and knowing what that meant. However, for a really long time, I was super against ever working at Cosentino, just because I'm a stubborn person, I would say, and I definitely was coming from a place of I want to do it myself, I want to carve my own path. And so I kind of individually figured out what a place at Cosentino would look like for me outside of my dad. And I was fortunate enough, I studied abroad in Madrid my senior year of college. I went to the University of Texas, so I was already in Austin. And the Cosentino headquarters are in Madrid, or we have an office in Madrid. And so every time I got off metro from school, I saw a huge Cosentino sign, and that kind of felt like a little bit of my sign in conjunction with just my own kind of research on the side. And I had looked into a million different career paths, and I did a cajillion internships in college, and I've had jobs since I was, 14, 15, as nanny jobs, through hostess jobs, through other sales jobs, real estate type things. So yeah, I eventually applied to Cosentino, didn't tell my dad, and then later ended up, of course, carving my own path in my own special way here. So
that's awesome.
It's been such a gift.
Yeah. And do you have any other friends that started with you and they are now in this industry, or you are the only one?
I have several friends from college that are in the industry, but they more are on, one of my friends, he studied petroleum engineering, or he studied some sort of engineering and is now a project manager for a builder. I have a couple girlfriends who now work for interior design firms here in Austin. So it's really fun to be able to kind of cater my work and be able to spend some time with my buddies too. So that's
fantastic.
Great. Yeah.
All right, so the second one. Can you describe your typical day at work and what tasks do you enjoy the most?
Yeah, I think this is a super interesting question because there is no typical day at work, to be honest. I always say, and I'm again super fortunate to be in this kind of position where Cosentino is as established as it is. So while my title is considered designer sales manager, I really am much more of a consultant than I am a salesperson. And so, additionally, Cosentino offers a ton of kind of custom options and just a massive variety of options. And so a lot of that is spending time with designers and understanding what their goals are for a specific project, or understanding what their goals are as a designer. And so that might be, kind of shifting them towards what makes sense for them within Cosentino, and also maybe helping them navigate maybe a custom job or cut to size situations, that just being kind of an educational resource for my designers and builders and architects and homeowners and anybody really in the high-end residential segment. My job is really just to kind of cater to them. So I guess explicitly that looks like spending time, having lunches, and I do a lot of listening, maybe more than you would kind of expect, because from an outside sales role, of course, you would anticipate that I go out and do selling, but I think it's debatably more important to understand kind of what my people need and be a listening ear to understand how I can best be a resource there. So a lot of it is listening, and my goal is really just to make designers' lives easier. So whether that be running them samples or connecting the circle with fabricators or meeting homeowners at the showroom to share slab viewings or things like that, it really is quite a diverse list of tasks that I find myself doing.
What is your favorite part of your job?
Of course, the people. I've been really fortunate to, so many of my customers now have become some of my very best friends. And so it's really, really wonderful and is so super fulfilling to be able to spend time and kind of work with people that I now consider some of my dear friends, having the same goal and working towards letting a project kind of come to life and being able to play a role in that and just have that time that is super special to me.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so the third one. How do you approach high clients, and what strategies do you use to build relationships with them?
Yes, so I think that's a super interesting question, and I think it really boils down to kind of, as humans in general, no matter the type of client, at the end of the day, people want to be heard and understood and listened to. And I think that's definitely magnified in the high-end residential industry, because of course people's homes are at stake, and whether it be the homeowner or the designer or the builder, everyone is invested into making a dream come to life of somebody's home, which we know somebody's atmosphere has a huge impact on their wellness and their entire life. And so I think my kind of strategy, I would say, in building relationships is ensuring that whoever it is that I'm building that relationship really feels heard and understood. And I would say transparency and honesty are huge factors that play a role in, I would say, my success in building a network and maintaining a network, just because inevitably in the construction industry, nothing ever goes perfect. No material is perfect, and no process is perfect, and no person is perfect. And so I think prioritizing that communication and being a resource when things do go wrong, and honestly communicating how I feel I can fulfill a need is, I think, a massive aspect of what's super helpful in building relationships and allows me to be trusted, because ultimately that's the goal, and that's how I feel like I can be most helpful.
Yeah. Plus, you have an amazing personality. So
Thank you.
You're very real, and if you have events and you have, I don't know, like somewhere to go to have a meeting with a client, you are very transparent and real with the client. So ultimately, you can feel the person that will help you, honestly. So that helps a lot. Like I'm also in the sales position, but this kind of trust is everything. It's
Definitely.
Everything. But at the same time, being a kind person, or that part that anybody describes, but is part of your personality as well. So that helps a lot.
That's very sweet.
So the fourth, what challenges do you face when working with clients, and how do you overcome them?
I think this is probably overarching to this industry, that there is such a variety of people involved in any one given project. So for my, section of the industry, hard surfaces, countertops, tile. I'm dealing, for any given project, I'm dealing with at least 2 different parties. And so I think closing the circle is a huge part of what I do, and it can also be a huge challenge. So the communication part of things, not everybody is on the same timeline, not everybody understands the same vision or even has the same goal. And so my role in trying to make things or make processes more streamlined, I think a huge aspect of that is kind of gathering the team and everybody participating in the project, and that can definitely be a challenge. But it's also super rewarding when everybody is on the same page, and that process is much more streamlined. So I would say kind of the strategy that I might use to help kind of gather the troops, I guess, towards the same mission, is over communicating. So if I know that a project is down the pipeline, or I know that there might be a potential issue, or I'm super excited, or whatever feeling I have to communicate so that everybody can understand and have the same vision, I try to do that proactively. So as soon as I know that somebody has a vision for something in the pipeline, I'll communicate that as soon as possible. And I think that being proactive is a huge measure that I take that's super helpful in preventing miscommunication. And just, kind of getting everyone on the same path and at the same pace.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Communication is
Communication is key.
Everywhere,
Absolutely.
like in all the aspects in construction.
Definitely.
So can you share a memorable experience or project that made you particularly proud in your role?
Definitely. So at Cosentino, as we know, we're a Spanish-owned company, and we do Spain trips where we bring designers to Almeria, which is where our factory is. And so this past June, I was fortunate enough to travel to Almeria, visit the factory, and spend time at Cosentino headquarters with some designers that I'm, of course, especially after that trip, super close with. And so it was really, really special. Of course, being boots on the ground here in Austin is meaningful to me, but being able to experience Cosentino in an entire another capacity and learn more about the family and see how much people, the factory workers, love their job there. And being able to see kind of how the morale and the ethos of the company is through and through to the base at the factory in Almeria, it's super special. And then beyond that, to be able to experience that with some of my customers is, invaluable. It was super special. So I would say that made me very proud to be at Cosentino. It made me very proud of the relationships I have, and really grateful more than anything, I would say.
What you could experience there that you feel that, oh my God, this is why I love to be part of Cosentino?
I think, it's really hard to pinpoint it, I would say, because it's easy for me to say, and this is really wonderful too, that it's easy for me to talk about our materials because they are so tried and true and so vetted and adored in the industry, both performance-wise, visually, all of the things. And so I would say it's easy for me to say, yeah, our material is amazing. And it was really special to get to see it manufactured and see kind of the innovation lab and all of the unique applications there. So of course, that part makes me really proud and makes me hold my head high whenever I'm presenting our material or know that I'm representing it. But beyond that, of course, seeing the people there and how they talk about the company and the heart in which they participate in all things Cosentino was super motivating and inspiring for me.
Awesome. All right. So the next one is, what skills do you think are essential for success in your position, and how did you develop them?
Well, I think first and foremost, you have to care. And I think that sounds really fundamental and elementary, but I think that's really the truth. And I think this job is something that you really get out of it, what you put into it. And I think that is what has made me successful, is caring and really kind of having grit. I think is really important because it's not always easy, and it's really, I think it could be easy to get kind of caught up in everything going on because there are so many moving parts, and so I think the skill of prioritizing is really huge, which is something that I learned through trial and error. Honestly, it's not something that prioritizing things isn't necessarily innate to me, I would say. It's really easy for me to want to fully commit to everything and be a mile wide and a mile deep, and I've had to really understand for my own efficiency and sanity, honestly, to really prioritize, okay, what's important here, what really needs to happen right now, and almost kind of humble myself and understand that you can't, it's impossible to think you can please everyone, and it's impossible to think you can do it all. And so I think maybe, just prioritizing and understanding and having humility that you can't do everything. I would say this is my first job since I graduated college in May 2023. However, I've worked since I was 15. I had a nanny job that I was very committed to and was the greatest privilege of all time. As soon as I was legally allowed to work, I worked at a sushi restaurant. I was a hostess. I worked there for the rest of high school, was a hostess, and then a to-go person, a waitress. And then in college, I had several nanny jobs. I did an internship at a co-working company, which was incredible. That was wonderful. I worked at a gym. I worked at Equinox as a merchandise salesperson. I have had several just kind of like side hustle jobs. I love working, and I've always, that has been something that really fulfills me and definitely motivates me, and I think I operate best when I'm busy, and so it's been a great,
what do you think
always
that
loved working.
is something that you learn on those places that now you are doing every day, and that help you in what you are doing currently?
I think what can kind of tie all of those roles together is they're all very human-based and have a lot of kind of a customer service part to it. And I learned that I love that. And that's super fulfilling to me, to be a helper and be somebody that makes other people's lives easier and better. Whether that be through nannying or serving people sushi or helping them pick out a new outfit or things like that. So I think that was a great lesson, and helped me really steer the direction of my career to catering to people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so the next one. How do you stay motivated and passionate about your work, especially during tough days?
That's a great question, because I mentioned earlier it's not always the easiest. However, I think what really keeps me going and what's a huge motivator for me is now the relationships that I've curated. And so I internally feel a sense of accountability to do what I said I was gonna do. And I am very committed to that. And my customers and also my team are people that I'm incredibly committed to. And so the days that I can't necessarily find it within myself, I really rely on my commitment to my team here in Austin and San Antonio, and my customers who I now have incredibly personal relationships with, and that dedication is really kind of a steadfast motivator for me.
Amazing. So the next one, in what ways do you think your role contributes to the overall success of the construction industry?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I think my role is really big on kind of closing the circle, and I connect a lot of moving parts. So whether that be architect, designer, builder, fabricator, homeowner, manufacturer, of course. So I think that for specific projects, and of course, you know, the sum of little parts is a whole, I think that really being committed to kind of closing the circle and aiding in communication and education is a huge aspect of my role, and kind of helps better the industry and make growth a little bit more streamlined.
Have you had like any comments from your clients that they appreciate what you do specifically?
Definitely, yes. I
Like
get that. I think that especially with designers, it's really easy to kind of resort to just the visual aspect of a material, and a lot of designers rely on me a lot for just the educational part of the functionality of materials, and me kind of saying like, maybe you shouldn't use this here, and they appreciate kind of the honesty and transparency, and I can, you know, steer them towards a better option and things like that. I think one thing I hear pretty often from designers, homeowners, builders is just kind of my knowledgeability over just Cosentino material, of course, but stone and hard surfaces in general. Just because in this industry, and especially as kind of a space creator, whichever role that might be in, there's so many aspects of that you have to become an expert in, and that's impossible. And so I think that I make the stone aspect of it and the hard surfaces aspect of it a little bit more streamlined, because I can kind of be a resource educationally, because I can't imagine having to be an expert in every single material and every single aspect of that goes into it.
Me as a designer, I have been collaborating with you in Cosentino with many projects, and I can say that you are very passionate about your work. That's why we are having this conversation. But also like the part of like this kind of education for designers, and also sometimes because we have, as a designers, we need to know before to present something to the client.
Definitely.
And they have to, you know, it should be easy to digest for them. So it is not like, it looks like very complicated, and you can say a lot of things about the materials, but at the same time, you cannot be expert about everything.
Right.
And that's great to be to have someone that is part of the company that is, you know, the top notch in this kind of business, that is very educated about the materials that you guys are selling. So that's amazing, and that's a great part to work with Maddie. I can say that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. And how do you balance your work life with your personal life, especially when dealing with high pressure situations like in construction every single day of your life?
Yes. I think that a huge part of kind of what contributes to being able to have that boundary with myself between work and life is efficiency when I am working, and prioritizing what needs to happen today and what needs to happen tomorrow morning when I wake up. If it would be super easy for me to work every night until midnight, and that's not sustainable. And I learned that very quickly. That was a huge lesson for me, that in order to be able to continue to pour my heart into what I do, I have to take care of that boundary. And yeah, I would say efficiency, and remembering that kind of in the bigger picture, I'm better off with, you know, closing the computer at a certain point. And that email doesn't have to be, can wait till tomorrow is kind of a big lesson for me. Because it is super easy, especially with my relationships are very personal to me and I hold them very close to my heart. And so I want to be responding on weekends. I want to be, you know, answering calls at midnight, and I want to do all these things. And I do all the time. I oftentimes do. But I think definitely just being very intentional about being in tune with myself and understanding that in order to keep kind of serving my people, I have to be sustained.
Awesome. That's fantastic. We need to learn more about that because, yeah, I'm very passionate about, you know, design, and sometimes, you know, I'm taking care of a lot of things, so I need to say this needs to stop right now.
Right.
And just take a break and have a life. And
have a life,
yes. All right, so the next one. Do you know what are the misconceptions that you had before working in this kind of industry and or selling high-end materials, and how do you address them?
Yeah, I think a huge misconception, and I think maybe at one point, or this was true, but it's something that is changing, is the amount of women representing the building industry, which is super fun and amazing, and really exciting to see. So I think that that's kind of misunderstood, and I'm guilty in kind of assuming that when I would come in, that on the builder side, I would strictly be dealing with men, and on the design side, that I would strictly be dealing with women, and I was absolutely wrong. And it's been such a treat to be able to see kind of the building industry evolve the way it has.
Yes, that's true. I am thinking like how many women I have had in this podcast, and I think that I have more women than men in the interviews, so that's very interesting.
Yeah.
There are a lot of architects and designers, special designers, we are a lot of women. And in this part of the construction, like in terms of materials and all that, sometimes it's perceived like, you know, men is more for this kind of job, but now we are a lot of women, so I'm very proud of that. So that's great.
Yeah.
That's great that you mentioned that.
Yeah, lots of talented, incredibly talented women architects, women builders. They're the ones that get it done.
Yes, that's
It's
good
great.
to know. Yeah, that's great. So what advice, this is the last one, what advice would you give to someone considering a career in this industry?
It's amazing. I mean, my first words would be words of encouragement. It was such a gift, and especially here in Austin, of course, I can speak to more than the industry internationally or nationally, but it is full of truly wonderful people, and be prepared to learn a lot, especially if you didn't go to school for it. And so I think, yeah, just kind of have an open mind and be really willing to be a sponge and absorb the lessons, both, you know, almost academically, but also life-wise. There's so much to be learned in this industry because it is it's a flexible industry, I would say, and you have to be flexible because there are challenges and obstacles in any given project. So I think kind of resilience is a huge skill that you should prioritize coming in, and yeah, just be a sponge, be ready to learn. And
what is one aspect that you feel that you didn't learn during your college, but you learn now that you are working like in this company?
I think something that I didn't learn in college, that I actually was super fortunate, I learned otherwise, but college didn't teach me this. My mom taught me the power of networking, and genuine networking beyond just shaking hands and kissing babies, I think is huge. When I was, for my 7th birthday, I decided to raise money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation and collect money instead of gifts. And in order to accomplish that goal, my mom brought me to an eWomen Network conference. And so we were at this massive conference with a cajillion women, and I was by far the youngest, I was 7. And she had me stand up on a chair and basically pitch my mission to all of these women and essentially network at this conference. And since then, it's been pretty instilled in me, the power of that, because it was effective, and people are more willing to receive you than you might anticipate or expect. And so I think having a willingness to present yourself in that vulnerable state is a great lesson that I don't think schools really totally teach.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, that is a very nice thing that your mom
It was
like amazing. Yeah, that's great. And you are doing that great nowadays.
Thank you.
So, well, thank you so much, Maddie, for being
you.
part of this.
Yes.
If you can share with us your information, how people can reach you out, the website from Cosentino, your Instagram, social media, whatever that you want to share here, I will put it here.
Yeah, so I do have a Cosentino Instagram. It's Maddie with Cosentino. Cosentino also has Cosentino USA Instagram, as well as we'll attach my email and my phone number. You're welcome to call and text me whenever.
All right, perfect. So now you know, and Maddie is an excellent representative from Cosentino, so you can reach her out if you have some projects with design, or if you're an architect, builder, contractor, whatever. Maddie is a great person to do that here in Austin. All right, thank you so much for having me. This was amazing. To have you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.